Ready or not, the timelines have shifted permanently. We're not going back to certain things ever. Welcome to my channel. I'm Shannon, and I've been put here on Earth. In fact, I've agreed to this to be a light worker, a way shower. I just was living my life, just minding my own business, having zero intent to go out and start speaking about these things publicly, much less starting a YouTube channel. But the universe hip checked me into awareness, and here I am. So, whether or not you have consciously decided to awaken and shift your timelines, or if the universe has done to you like it's done to me, where it's just decided, hey, wake up, we are here. So, this is what I want to talk about in this video. A lot of this is tied to the outer planets shifting. We are in a timeline of transition. If you watch astrology, if you watch spirituality, I'm definitely not the first person to tell you this. What I'm doing here on my channel is just being a place where you can go and resonate with and find the same frequency as somebody else who's experiencing the same things as you are. So let's talk about this timeline shift and how it has affected us and how it will continue to affect us. If you think about it, the awareness that we have as beings has shifted to a whole different level than it was even 100 years ago. Now, if we think about the timelines of humanity, and I'm talking about the decades long changes that we often experience just here on Earth with technology and how everything has changed over time and just naturally progresses. We are living in a time of great change, of definite upgrades to a level where we've never been before. I mean, 100 years ago, you would have people who had never not only left their state or their hometown even, but really didn't have any awareness about what was happening beyond what they interacted with on a daily basis. Maybe they got a newspaper and they were reading about things that happen in distant places, but mainly their reality, their existence was right in front of them and really didn't extend past maybe their local neighborhood. We are in a very different place now. A couple of years ago, the universe shoved us all into our houses and made us see some things and think about some things and interact in ways that we actually didn't think were possible. So even when I talk about there's no going back to the prior timeline, think about how before we all got sent home for 2 years or so, a lot of us went physically into an office building and we worked, or we went to a place of work. Now, definitely people still do this, but there was a massive shift at that time to work from home and jobs went remote and a lot of people's lives totally changed. And we accomplished something which was kind of told to us and we thought we could never accomplish, which was this distance communication, how so many of us have connected via the internet. We're on Zoom meetings, we're on Microsoft Team meetings. It's wild how we're just connecting from all over the world. I mean, I personally connected with a community that is not based in this country and has community members from all over the planet. And that would not have been possible had we not been forced to shift into a timeline where that's how we were connecting. We weren't able to go about our lives within our local neighborhoods and our communities. We were pushed into a timeline where we were focused on a different way of communicating. So there's no going back to that old way. We all know it's like you can't unsee it. So this is how it is with our spiritual awakening. We are all getting to a point where the universe will raise our awareness up, whether or not we're on board, whether or not we are conscious of it. We are all doing it. So we are basically breaking into kind of different types of awakenings. You have the people who have always seemed like they've known it. We know about the teachers. We know about the spiritual masters, the one that shows up and gets it right away and tells the rest of us how it is. And we follow these people. And there are a lot of teachers out there that we can follow. And then we have the people who pick it up during their lifetime. They start to focus on it and they actively pursue awakening. They actively pursue knowledge and enlightenment, and they spend their lifetime like learning and knowledge, and they eventually get to a point where they've learned enough, or their awareness is raised enough that they become more awakened. They've worked toward it. This is part of their soul contract, to work toward it in this lifetime. We all have different ways of getting there. Other people have shown up and been completely unaware, and then have been just brutally awakened in some way. I would say I'm somewhere between there, in that I was aware and awake and spiritually like conscious to a certain level, but I was shoved into awareness almost suddenly, where it was like one day I went from being, pretty aware. I felt pretty aware of kind of myself and my behaviors. And then it was like the next day, suddenly I saw it. How actually, no, I was pretty unaware. And actually, I was living in a lot of deep shadow and trauma, and just, I was unconsciously responding and reacting to things left and right, and not even really being aware that that's what I was doing. And it was like suddenly the universe like shoved me into this awareness where it was like, wow, okay, I'm going to wake up here and I'm going to experience all the trauma that I've spent my lifetime building up. I'm going to see it. I'm going to feel it. It's going to work through me. Even traumas from other lifetimes, perhaps I'm working through. It felt like so much spiritual kind of like, just like almost trauma and energy flowing through my body with or without my acceptance. So many tears, so many prayers, so many moments that I just felt like I was losing it. And then it was as if I turned the corner. My timeline finally shifted. It's like the universe said, okay, all right, you've worked through a lot of that. And now we're going to lift you up out of that trauma so you can know that it's been released to the universe. Thank you, universe, for taking that. That was exhausting. And we're going to put you into a place where you're going to be able to see it a little bit easier and accept it. And now I've been floating along in a place of deep acceptance of myself and unconditional love of myself, and working on getting there to all the other beings in my life, all my other mirrors and teachers, because that's who everyone in my life is. So those type of people where you've sort of been shoved into it, it's up to us to try to accept and integrate as much as possible. Again, that's part of why I even started this channel. For other people who have felt these pushes forward into spirituality, into awakening that you may or may not have been ready for, here we are with it. Like I said, here we are, ready or not. You'll also have a lot of people who are still back into the unconscious stage and haven't really gotten to the point of awakening yet, but subconsciously something is moving within them. The energy is moving forward. And we will get to this point where it's almost like we can't help but be aware. It's so in our faces, we can't help but get there. And a lot of people around us are probably like that, where they're starting to maybe like notice something's up with the energy or universe, and they see their lives deconstructing around them. They see society starting to collapse. They see our old structures starting to go. And so this is their security maybe falling out underneath them, and they are not really sure what's going on with it. Their soul feels it, but they're doing it in an environment where they don't necessarily have the support, the validation for it. So maybe that's how they find themselves on YouTube watching videos of random strangers talking about it, because there's nobody else around them. And they feel like a little bit of a weirdo, a little bit of a outcast maybe. They feel like they're experiencing something or hearing or feeling things that it seems like other people don't, but I assure you that they do. Some people are just way more programmed to have a lot more fears or limiting beliefs around all of that. So they don't allow themselves until the universe just cuts it out from underneath them and they can't help but see it. So we're moving toward that. We are definitely moving toward that. And those souls that are coming into existence now are entering Earth existence and into their incarnations at a whole different level. They are born for this, truly. Now, so are we. Wherever you are, whatever stage of life you're in, you're exactly where you're supposed to be. These are the agreements that you've made in life with your soul family, with your soul team on the other side, to be where you're at. So you should never worry that you haven't done enough, or if anything I'm talking about hasn't risen enough to your awareness that you're like, wait, which one am I? Am I one that's like consciously or unconsciously? That's where you're supposed to be, because all of us go back and forth. Before you go from being completely unconscious about your behavior to completely conscious and aware, it's a process. And yes, some people are pushed into it at a higher rate, in a faster rate. Other people slowly kind of ease into it. And others are just pulled along by others unwillingly. They don't even want to go into that because they're happy where they're at. But the timelines, again, are shifting us forward. Now, one thing we know, a lot of transformational energy is coming our way. So for those of us who are aware and awake, who do find ourselves in a position of being able to awaken others or support others or validate others, this is when we are called upon to do it. This is when you face the fear, the awkwardness. This is when you give up a little bit of your ego to be able to reach out to your fellow human and say, hey, it's okay. Yes, you're more aware and awake than you've ever been, perhaps. Maybe you are seeing parts of yourself, or you're being shown parts of yourself or those around you that you haven't noticed before. And this is exactly what you're supposed to be doing. So it's time to let go of the traumas. It's time to let go of the victim mentality and the patterns that we have had in other lifetimes and this lifetime, where we've attributed everything that's happened to us to somebody else, some other force in our life. We haven't decided to choose to create our own reality consciously. And we are going toward that. So let's do it. Let's do it. Let's talk about it when it happens to us. Let's make this a little bit more normal of an experience where those that are waking up can feel like there's some place to go, to gravitate toward. We are beings of light. We are divine beings of energy. And the more we see and realize this, the easier it is for all of us. So as these galactic energies come in, as the earth awakens and becomes more aware, and suddenly we're seeing and experiencing all these other things that so many people have, and other people have just been in this denser energy of kind of like structure and denial, and just what has existed has been okay for them, so they're comfortable with it and they don't really see any reason to change it. All of that is going to be kind of transformed regardless, based on what the earth itself is now being exposed to via the galaxy, via the universe, via other higher intelligences, or just other intelligences that have become aware of us and we become aware of them. And we're moving toward a more collective, grander, expansive ability to, exist within our souls, within our games here, within these lives that we've decided to incarnate into. So I guess the whole point I'm trying to make here is this: whether or not you consciously decide to awaken, here we are. So you might as well embrace it. You might as well try to go toward some energy, some people, some connections that the universe is pushing you towards, so that it can help ease you into this transitional process. So I guess what I'm saying is like, go with it, go with the flow. That's our job here. If you've made it this far into the video, you might be open to this message. You're here to hear this message, that there's more of you out there than just you. Yes, there's many of us that have found ourselves transformed and moved into a place that we didn't see coming. So more of that to come, dear friends. And I just send you some light and love and healing and validation for this process that you're going through. Know that you're not alone. Know that you're supported. Know the universe has you. And there are others who are on this same type of journey that are willing to connect with you. And let me know in the comments if anything I'm saying resonates with you. Check out my guided meditations. Check out some of my readings. I've got some playlists over there. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, I appreciate it. Helping me grow, help me get this message out. Thanks so much for your likes. Thanks so much for your watches and listens. And I'll see you next time.